unmute me when it's time, or will I unmute myself?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. We're going live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Juneteenth celebration.
Do it again.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our Juneteenth celebration. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to spend a couple of minutes waiting for people to log on. I'm so excited that you're able to participate in this commemoration of Juneteenth. And just one moment, just a little bit about me. My name is Jamila Taylor. I am an attorney and community advocate, and I'm running for state representative in the 30th district down here in South King County, parts of North Pierce County. And it's an open seat, and I am looking to do my very best to represent our district. So we're just waiting a couple more minutes, and then we're going to get the program started. So, you know, hit the like button, hit the heart button, let us know that you're here, and it will be an amazing, amazing time. And we're having a I'm live right now, Mother. I'm on the Facebook. You're going to have to sit. If you are telling your friends about this program, tell them to go to my Facebook page, which is electjamilataylor.com, and you'll be able to see the live stream going on. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is get started. Do you need help, Mom? Okay. One moment while I do technical assistance to my mother. Okay, here we go. So my mom wants to watch on her iPad. She just hit the link inside of her email that she received earlier today, and it takes you straight to the Facebook page. Clearly, if you're watching now, you know exactly what's going on, but here we go. And I'm hitting the play button. All right, there you go. There you go. All right. You know, we got to take care of our seniors and make sure that they can participate in technology, and it's an amazing thing. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Today, our event, Juneteenth, was brought to you by Lauren Parris Watts, Judge Wesley St. Clair, who's also retired, and Nate Miles. I'm so thankful for these sponsors who have made this quite possible. I also want to thank Lem Howell, Melissa Taylor, Redmond City Council member Jessica Forsythe, and Renton City Council member Kim-Khanh for also supporting this program. To get us started, I want to introduce you to our first guest. Her name is Makela Steward Monroe. She's a Seattle native and a proud assistant principal at Nathan Hale High School. So she's part of our educators community. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, which happens to be my sorority, and attends Mount Calvary Christian Center. She is a motivational speaker and a nationally sought after pageant coach. And one thing that's very important about her, I've always been in awe of her musical talents, and it's played such a huge part in her life and getting her through some of the toughest times. And I absolutely can relate to that. So she empowers people, especially women, with her gifts and her talents of music. And she's going to bring us a wonderful selection, a gospel favorite, Faith That Conquers by Vanessa Bell Armstrong. Makela?
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fabulous, fabulous. I chose this song because this is one of my go-to songs when I'm feeling a little bit down and I need some encouragement for myself. So with everything that's going on in the world right now, I just thought that this was a really fitting song. So without any further ado, Faith. I have the faith that can see the invisible, believe the incredible, receive the impossible. Faith that can conquer anything. Faith that uproots no God can solve them. Faith to envision my freedom. I have the faith that can conquer anything. Oh, faith that can see the invisible. Oh, faith that can find the unbeatable. Oh, faith to remove the unmovable. Faith to withstand the invincible. Faith that can conquer anything. Oh, faith that can see the invisible. Faith that can find the unbeatable. Faith to remove the unmovable. Faith to withstand the invincible. Faith that can conquer anything. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And you know what? Zoom could barely keep up with you. I'm in awe of your gifts. Thank you so much, Makela. I appreciate you for coming in tonight. Thank you for giving us your talents tonight.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. We're going to kick it off to Dr. Jennifer Jones. She teaches courses on world regional geography, colonialism, the Middle East, and social policy. Last year, Dr. Jones joined the Federal Way School Board and has been a fierce advocate for public education and equity for her entire career. She also happens to teach at Highline College. So that is our homegrown local college down here serving our community. Dr. Jones, are you ready to bring your presentation on the history of Juneteenth? We just want to make sure you're not on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, sorry. All right, here we are. Thank you so much for having me with you tonight and starting off with such a wonderful, uplifting song to get us started today. So I've been asked to talk briefly about the history of Juneteenth. And I want to start off by saying that history only appears to be about the past. History is about the present. We are living through history right now. And it's hard to even keep up with all the things that are happening. And so today I'm going to talk about the origins of Juneteenth and why it's so important for us to be commemorating this event. So Juneteenth starts in Texas. And so I'll talk a little bit about why Texas. Juneteenth is about something that happened all over the United States, but it's situated in Texas. And we need a little bit of background on this. First of all, in 1863, President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation had ended slavery, all right? Slavery had already ended in the Confederate States. We also had that same year, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution that would forever abolish slavery in the entire United States. But we still had slavery operating in Texas at this time. Texas was the last state in the Confederacy to receive word that the Civil War was over and that slavery had ended. So the holiday Juneteenth gets its name from an event that took place on June 19th, 1865. And that happened when Major General Gordon Granger of the Union Army read out this statement. I'm just going to read one little short paragraph. And it says, the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. The important phrase there, of course, is all slaves are free. Now, the enslaved persons in Texas had already been free for over 2 years. They had not been informed of this fact yet. And there's a lot of speculation as to why they had not been informed of this, even though it had already taken place. Why is this not going? I'm trying to move. Okay. One of the best stories that I came across in doing this presentation was what happened when Major General was reading this statement out to the people of Galveston, Texas. And some of the formerly enslaved people were already leaving while he was still reading. They had already taken off. As soon as the announcement, all slaves are free, had been stated, they already were leaving. Juneteenth therefore recognizes the last place in the South that freedom touched, according to the historian Henry Louis Gates. So how did Juneteenth become a holiday? In 1866, within a year of this emancipation statement, freed African Americans in Texas held a celebration on June 19th to commemorate the end of slavery. Then, as Black families immigrated out of the South into the other parts of the United States, particularly starting in the 1920s and 30s during the Great Depression, observances of Juneteenth spread throughout the country. Traditional soul food is typical fare, including smothered chicken, barbecue, cornbread, black-eyed peas, and red soda pop are part of the celebration. At 155 years, Juneteenth is the oldest celebration held by Black people in the United States and one of the oldest holidays in the United States. You can see there that people turned out in their best attire. There was music, there was celebration, and life was difficult. Life was hard. These people knew that life was not easy for them, but they still turned out and celebrated for Juneteenth. People wore their very, very best outfits. They turned out for public readings, for sermons, readings of the Emancipation Proclamation, songs, as we have just heard, baseball games, rodeos, later on car races, all kinds of activities. You can see people there turned out in their best outfits, the children, the families. And of course, parades, which is what Juneteenth is typically known for today in towns and cities all over the United States. Pageants, parades, step performances, dance teams, all kinds of celebratory events are used to recognize Juneteenth. In 1980, the Texas legislature made Juneteenth an official state holiday, and Juneteenth is now recognized by 46 individual states. Just this week, organizations like Twitter, Nike, the New York Times, and the NFL have all made announcements in support of Juneteenth as a holiday. So Juneteenth currently appears to be on the fast track to being recognized in all the states of the United States. And I predict that history will be made when Juneteenth as a national holiday is declared at long last, commemorating true freedom in the United States. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. I mean, it's a time of celebration, a time of honoring our ancestors and moving forward in our community. And we know that we are in the struggle to bring equity into everyday life, and we would be remiss if we didn't honor the moment that's happened and with the activism that's happening with Black Lives Matter and all of the efforts to bring equity for folks of color and Black people and Indigenous people. Next up, we have 3 guests who are coming from the labor movement. And as many of you can recognize, labor has made so many strides on behalf of workers' rights in the United States. So I'd like to introduce Cherika Carter, April Sims, and Shaunie Wheeler James.
Hi, Hi.
Hello. I'm going to do a quick introduction. So Cherika Carter is a political strategist, political and strategic campaigns director for Washington State Labor Council. April Sims is the secretary treasurer for the Washington State Labor Council. And Shaunie Wheeler-James is the political and legislative director for the Teamsters Joint Council 28. These women are in the executive leadership of important labor organizations for our state. All right. Welcome.
Thank you. Oh, hi there. Thank you so much for having us on. Can you all hear me okay? Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jamila, for inviting us to this event. April Sims, I use she, her pronouns. Proud to serve as Secretary Treasurer of the Washington State Labor Council, AFL-CIO. For those of you who don't know, the Washington State Labor Council is the largest labor organization in Washington State. We represent about 600 locals and over 500,000 workers all across the state of Washington. I'm excited to be here with you all tonight for this Juneteenth celebration. And that's exactly what Juneteenth is. It's a celebration of both our resiliency as Black folks and the horrors that our ancestors survived so that we could all be here today. And a celebration of our right as Black folks to have a voice in the value of our labor and a share in the profits our labor helps to create. And that's why it's important for labor to celebrate Juneteenth, that this is core to our values as a labor movement. It's core to our mission, the dignity of owning our labor and fighting the forces that seek to enslave the human soul is the work of the Washington State Labor Council, and work that we are proud to do. One of the ways that we help accomplish that work and one of the ways that we serve our mission is through our political and legislative programs. We have a political program that helps us elect champions to the legislature that can bring the voices of our communities and the voices of workers into the halls of power, and a legislative program that works to pass policies that have real meaningful impact on the lives of workers, families, and communities. So I am thrilled to join you all tonight and thrilled to be here with my sisters in the struggle, Cherika Carter and Shaunie Wheeler, and I will turn this over to them. Thank you.
Thank you, April. Appreciate that. Happy Juneteenth, y'all. Jamila, thanks for inviting me to be here tonight, but also thank you for running. Super excited about your campaign. So just want to say that. Thank you for running. I am Cherika Carter, she, her pronouns. I'm the political and strategic campaigns director at the Washington State Labor Council. You know, as April mentioned, we are the largest labor organization in the state, right? And so how thrilled am I that my boss is a Black woman, right? So that's great for me. But seriously, at the State Labor Council, we are committed to equity. And, you know, equity is part of our political work at the WSOC. Since 2015, we've been running work around our race and labor program. And, you know, we have many conversations with folks in the community. They're like, hey, labor, get your house in order. And so we have been doing that work. And so when I talk about equity, it's not lip service. You know, we are making a conscious effort at the WSLC to support Black women and people of color in our Labor Neighbor efforts. And so our Labor Neighbor is our grassroots political program. It is our boots on the ground. And so with I am the political and strategic campaigns director. And so when you have Black women at the helm and making decisions, you know, like I'm unapologetic in saying that, like, we are going to center Black people, we are going to center Black women. And so since my time here, we and even before I came in, we were doing that work. And so you know, I'm excited and thrilled about Jamila's campaign and doing the work, right? And so as we for us in our Labor Neighbor and grassroots efforts, as we center Black women and people of color, when we do that, when we center the most marginalized, and as Malcolm X says, the most disrespected among us, right, the Black women, then all of us will get free, because none of us are free until all of us are free. And Mother Fannie Lou Hamer taught me that, right? And so our Labor Neighbor efforts and how we center Jamila and other Black women, you know, I'm excited about it, and to do the work, and, you know, and with our boots on the ground. And with our boots on the internet, I'm working on this joke, so I don't know how it landed. So let me know, like, drop me a line, right? Because we're not on the ground because of the pandemic that we're in. But we are doing the work, and we are talking to our members and letting them know that, like, we are going to support and stand behind Black women and champion for them, because electing Black leaders and folks from the community, like, we really have to do it because representation matters. And especially in this moment that we are in, and folks are proclaiming that Black Lives Matter and painting on the streets, and we're having this conversation around police brutality, and it's like a hot button topic right now. We need to make sure, like, that the folks who are legislating and making laws around police reform, how can the folks who want to legislate laws around that, who have never experienced police brutality because of the color of their skin, right? How can they legislate in the best way possible that works for all of us? And so when we elect Black leaders and people from our communities to office, then we have a voice and we have representation. And so I want to say that. And so I am excited about your run and to support you, Jamila. Turn it over to Shaunie.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Shaunie Wheeler-James. I am the Political and Legislative Director for Teamsters Joint Council. I get to work with Cherika Carter on electing dynamic candidates such as Jamila. And then in my other role, I get to go down to Olympia and lobby for working families and advocate for the organized labor. And as a labor lobbyist, I am one of 2 Black labor lobbyists. And so you can obviously see that there's some work that needs to be done in our house, but there also needs to be work done in government. And when I'm talking about policies through the lens of Shaunie and looking at policy through the lens of Shaunie, that's often not reciprocated by my male counterparts. So when we're talking about electing good folks, representation matters more than just getting people excited to vote for them. It also is a 2-part step on whether or not they're going to look at policies and budget that way. Because you can literally, lack of representation can literally mean life or death when we're talking about policies, because that means healthcare for my family or food on the table, right? And for those who are privileged and those who do not experience the same things that we do in our communities, they can't see that. And I know there's a lot of progressive policy that we're pushing in Washington State. We're far beyond most of the other country. Whether that's healthcare, raising the minimum wage, banning the box, looking at our paid and sick leave, right? We've done some really great work, but we didn't do that without community. We didn't do that without the proper people being at the table as stakeholders. And so labor, far from perfect, we are really working on making sure that there's racial inclusion in the policies that we're pushing, because we know that advocacy is hard for us. It's hard for the working mom to come down to Olympia to talk about her struggles with her as a single mother. It's hard for those who are working 2 to 3 jobs to come down and talk about immigration, right? It's really hard for our communities to come down to Olympia, even know how to do that process. So it's in turn our responsibility to make sure we're hiring great advocates and lobbyists within labor to do that, and also electing the right folks who, when they're sitting in caucus, can say, you know what, that sounds like a good bill, Bob. However, this will impact my community this way. No amount of reading, no amount of studying, no amount of education can bring that to them. That takes personal perspective. There's some bills that we were working on it with our community partners within labor. One was 1783, which was establishing the new Washington State Office of Equity. We can give some snaps for that one. Really great, yes, really great, but still need implications that it causes. The discrimination, the hiring process, those who are going to come into our fields, it does. And if we didn't have a representative like Melanie Morgan sitting at the table, that would never have been addressed. So while we have gotten started and done a lot of great policy, there's still a lot more work to do. And I am super excited to work with someone like Jamila down in Olympia. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I see you're doing double duty.
Yeah.
Double duty with the little one right there. So that just shows that, you know, the dedication and the hard work. I appreciate your time. I appreciate April, Cherika, Shaunie. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You know, sharing where we've come and to where we're going, and that the movement and the struggle still is ongoing, and we are maybe not in the same boat, but we're on the same journey. And that means that we can listen to more perspectives and hear more and do more for the whole community.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch it over to our legislators who are anxious to share some insights. I'm going to start with our South King County senators, Senators Claire Wilson and Senator Mona Das. Senator Claire Wilson from the 30th District. This is my district. Prior to her election, Claire served for 25 years at the Puget Sound Educational Service District as an administrator in early education and family involvement. Senator Mona Das out of the 47th District. During her first year as an elected official, Senator Das has worked tirelessly on behalf of the environment, affordable housing, equity, and inclusion. And these are women I absolutely look forward to working with in Olympia. So do we have Senator Wilson and Senator Das available?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. I'm sitting on my deck, so I hope that life is going to be okay. I just can't even tell you how absolutely honored I am to be here to talk on your behalf, but also to follow such powerful women and powerful voices that we just heard from the labor community. And says a lot to have them there and have them here to speak on your behalf. But Jamila has been an incredible partner in the work in South King County, and I've had a chance to get to know her prior to my seat in the Senate. But I can't tell you how much you've already heard representation matters and what she stands for and the work she's done on behalf of families in this community, especially families who've continued to be underserved, underrepresented, and disproportionately impacted by resources, by supports, by legislation, and by laws. So it means the world to have her run for office. It also means the world to be able to support her in that journey. And I look forward to having her as a partner and to sit in the House as a representative for the 30th Legislative District. And I know I am not alone in that, in those feelings. And I just want to tell you how honored I am to be here tonight to speak on your behalf.
Hi, everybody. Senator Mona Das from the 47th District, which includes Kent, Covington, and Auburn here in South King County. It is an absolute honor and a pleasure to be here. And as Senator Wilson mentioned, to be able to follow such great labor leaders who really do come down to Olympia and walk the walk. So thank you, ladies, for all you do to make our jobs easier. And I just can't thank everyone enough for being here tonight. I really ran on a platform that representation matters. And if you are not at the table, you are on the menu. And we as women of color have been on the menu for far too long. And I am so excited to have Jamila's spirit, her energy, her brilliance, and her go get 'em attitude as part of our legislature. I can't tell you enough. As one of very few women of color in the Senate side, it gets lonely, and we need our fellow sisters to help lift us up and pick us up when things are hard, and they are often sometimes very difficult. So I'm very, very excited about what Jamila can bring to the legislature and making sure that all voices from the community are at the table. And as we know, Black Lives Matter. This matters, and making sure that we have elected leaders that reflect their communities is so important. And I couldn't be more thrilled to celebrate Juneteenth with Jamila and all of the people who support her. And we can't wait for you to be at the table with us, helping us pass these great laws to help our communities, especially in the time of rebuilding. It's going to be so important to make sure that we have representation there, so that we don't just cut everything, because we know if we're not there, our interests and the folks that we care, the organizations and the folks that are doing the work in our communities are often on the chopping block. And we want to make sure that our voices are there to say no and look for other ways, like progressive revenue, for example, and other ways to do what we need to do to balance the budget in January. And Jamila, we can't wait for you to be there with us.
Well, thank you so much. Senators Wilson, Senator Doss, like the amount of mentorship and connectivity to community that you have, it is important for those voices. And I hope to amplify the work that you're doing and continue to bring another voice on the House of Representatives side. So thank you so much for coming tonight and supporting this campaign. I'm going to transition to some more elected officials. I mean, I want you all to understand women have stepped up on behalf of me and my campaign in ways that I am just in awe of. So I'm going to bring Speaker Laurie Jinkins and Senator Jeannie Darneille to come and give us a few words. And while they're coming on, I'm going to share a little bit more about them. Speaker Laurie Jinkins made history this year as the first woman and the first member of the LGBTQ community to serve as the Speaker of the House. Even before her historic appointment in January, she has been a leader in public health policy in our state, as well as on anti-discrimination laws. It's also my pleasure to introduce Senator Jeannie Darneille, who has served her community in Parris County and the 27th District and has been a fierce advocate for needs and concerns of families struggling to make ends meet. They are amazing champions for community. And again, I want to be a part of that movement to help our whole community. Thank you, ladies. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you so much for having us here tonight, Jamila. It's a pleasure to be here to support your candidacy. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you so much better as we move forward. And happy Juneteenth to everyone. I can't help but feel these are such momentous times that we are fighting for change and we're fighting for justice. And while we are never going to be perfect at it in Olympia, we can try hard. We can never fully right the wrongs of the past, but we can work together to build a better future for everyone. And I am pleased to be chairing the Human Services Committee in the Senate. And part of what we do are justice work in juvenile justice and in the adult correction system. So I'm so happy that so many more people are coming into the legislative arena. I've been fighting sometimes alone. It's been kind of lonesome, especially in the Senate, working on these issues. And I am so thrilled to have more partners in this work because beyond the marches, beyond the hashtags, even beyond the legislation, there is so much more to do to actually build a more just society and a more inclusive society, a more compassionate society. And so I'm very excited that you're working so hard and that you're going to be coming from the 30th District, our next door neighbor, to our district here in the 27th District, and excited to get to know you better. So happy Juneteenth.
Thank you.
Hello, Jamila, and hello, everybody. I was just thinking to myself, if all the women who are in attendance and who have spoken so far were the legislature, we would rock the world.
Yes.
And that's why we need you with us down there, Jamila. And thank you for doing this Juneteenth celebration. And I was able to come on a little bit early and hear some of the historical background. So that's wonderful to learn. And it was great a couple of weeks ago to be on the line with your dad when he presented all of the history of Black folks who had been elected to different legislative and local government positions in Washington. It's so, like, I'm used to candidates just doing candidate things all the time, but you're providing education along the way to all of us, things that we need to know. I'm excited to have Jamila come and join us, just because in large part because of her background in local government and in the activism that she's done, in the way in which she's engaging community. That's what we need more of in Olympia. I'm really excited for the House Democratic Caucus. You know, our last cycle, We elected 5 new members of our Members of Color Caucus. Last year, we founded our Black Members Caucus. This year, along with Jamila, we have at least 4 other candidates who we are expecting to join us, who are members of color on Olympia, and we are remaking what the Democratic House Caucus looks like. And by that, we are able then to remake the way we look at the laws in this state, the way we enact laws in this state, what we do as a legislature. And so it's that's what's so important about this. The more diverse the voices are around our tables, the better solutions we come to for everybody. For far too long, the voices around the table have been mostly white men, and then for a while it added white women, and then we started to add more and more people of color from very diverse communities and LGBTQ people. And as we were able to do that, one of the things that I noticed is that our conversations had to be much deeper and much more meaningful so that we could really understand each other and where we were coming from. But always, even if it took a little more time, and I honestly think it's better to have those kinds of conversations and to take a little time to really understand each other's communities. Our solutions, though, are always better now. With diversity comes improvement in what it is we do for the people of this state. And that's why that's a big part of the reason why we need Jamila down there. We also need her expertise in local government and so many other topic areas. But so I'm so excited to be here tonight with everybody, and so excited, Jamila, to have you join us in Olympia. I know you're working hard. I hope everybody on this call tonight is going to help you get there with us, and I am anxious to serve with you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Speaker Jenkins. I'm excited to be on this journey, and I'm excited to be down there in Olympia. Again, when you elect diverse voices to the table, to Olympia and to office, you bring a universalism to the table. And that means that if we're helping everyone who are on the margins, then we're helping everyone in the whole. So I want to transition to our last guest tonight, Erin Jones. Erin Jones is a champion for education and specifically advocating for equity in our schools. She has won several awards of distinction for teaching and made history as the first Black woman to run for a statewide office in Washington State. And I remember walking with her in parades back in 2016. So the first Black woman to run for a statewide office, not until 2016. That means we have a lot more work to do. So Erin Jones, are you ready? Are you with us?
I am here.
Excellent. Awesome. There you are. Like, oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming tonight and closing out our program. I'm excited and thankful that you have joined the journey for this campaign and are willing to share some words of thought, of hope and action for our watchers.
Thank you. Well, thanks so much for inviting me to close this out. It's so great to see so many of my friends that were on before. So I've been watching since the beginning, and just I know at least all of by many of you, we've done work together. So I just feel really honored to be part of this team. As I think about closing words, first of all, I want to say, you know, my husband's family is from Texas. So the whole notion of Juneteenth and what that represents for his father, whose grandfather was a slave, by the way. You know, I hear lots of people talk about how slavery was so long ago, but if my husband's father's grandfather was a slave, it's really not that long ago. And for us to realize that if we're not willing to face it, we can't fix it. So I think for me, what Juneteenth really represents, especially in this moment in our history, is that we have to be willing to face our past, not just as a nation, but also as Washington State. And, you know, having worked for the superintendent of Federal Way, I know that community really well. And it's really easy to not want to look in the past and not want to look at where we have failed and just want to look forward. And I think it's so critical to think about who is Federal Way, where have we gotten things right, where do we need to move forward, and be really honest because we really can't get at solutions until we've really dug deep and looked ourselves in the mirror at where are the opportunities for growth. And one of the things I've said often in the last couple of months is, I think true patriotism is both saying America's an amazing place and America has opportunity for growth. As a mom, I think about that with my kids, that, well, y'all are awesome and you need to take a bath, right? And that's really what running for office is about, is saying, you know, I believe so much in my community that I want to be part of the solution, but I also want to make things better. I want change. And I think that's what true patriotism is. And that's really what this moment in time is allowing for us. And I would say for those who are watching, my concern right now is I've taught an equity class every day for the last 69 days. So I started teaching a free class online in racial equity the day that school was canceled. So March 9th was my first day. And we've talked a lot in the last week about kind of Nike honoring Juneteenth and our state honoring Juneteenth. And I know I saw the Federal Way mayor is going to be honoring Juneteenth as well. And my call out, particularly to my white brothers and sisters, is to not get so caught up in this moment and doing Black Lives Matter and celebrating Juneteenth, and 2 months from now, you're not still on the bandwagon. That's my concern for this moment, is that we can get caught up, we can get swept up in the emotion and the faddishness of this moment and not really do the deep work that our communities need for us to really move forward, to not have another moment like this. We don't need another George Floyd, but the only way we're not going to have another George Floyd is if we're willing to really dig deep and look at what are the systemic inequities in Minneapolis? What are the systemic inequities in Federal Way, in Pierce County, in the state of Washington? And to really dig deep into those is going to mean we have to do more than just celebrate a day tomorrow. It's going to mean more than just marching in a parade. It's going to mean looking at policy and strategy and really developing a plan that's long-term. And so, Jamila, I'm proud to know you. I'm proud to be part of this movement. I believe that you have much to offer our state as a voice at the state level. And I'm really excited to see where you're headed. I'm excited for Federal Way, just to know that you would be working with Claire, who's one of my besties in Federal Way. Just really excited to see what this movement can do for our state. And I have incredible hope, even in this has been a really dark season. Having birthed 2 children naturally, I also know that birth is incredibly painful, and then you see the beauty of the results. And I believe that's the moment that we're in right now. And so what I would say to community is the greatest thing we can do is elect great people, not just at the federal level, but all the way down the ticket, to vote all the way down the ticket, and to not just seize this moment, but to create a movement that goes beyond this moment in time. And so I would encourage you to support Jamila however you can with resources, whether that's money or time. Get out and walk for her, get out on social media and support her. And I'm just excited all the way from Lacey to be part of the team. Take care.
Thank you, Erin. I appreciate all those words and encouragement and the next action step. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And again, thank you for our primary sponsors, Lauren Parris Watts, Wesley Judge, Wesley St. Clair, retired, and Nate Miles. And then also an additional thank you to Lem Howell, Melissa Taylor, Redmond City Council Member Jessica Forsythe, Renton City Council Member Kim-Khanh, and everyone, if you are interested in getting involved in the campaign, whether you're able to donate $5 or $500 or max out the contribution of $1,000 in this primary, you can go to my website at www.electjamilataylor.com. You can also sign up to Phone Bank. You can be a social media maven by sharing our message and things that resonate with you and sharing with more folks around our campaign. Every single bit helps. So get involved with the campaign if you believe in the mission that we have put forth for you today around inclusion and speaking up for those who have not been at the table. So the time is now to really support the candidates, the values that you want to see at the table in Olympia and beyond. And you can do it. Get involved. Again, you can go to my website at www.electjamilataylor.com. There are a lot of opportunities for you, we would love to have you as part of the campaign. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful evening and good night.